What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 3, Week 7, Leonis Division. And let's take a look at the standings before we head into this week. We have none other than Sandrooster, coach of Unicorn Gunfight, with 15 points in first place. He does have that head-to-head tiebreaker over Zhalk and the Boco buddies, who are currently sitting in second place right now. Both of these teams, I believe, have a possibility of clinching a playoff spot if they win this week. We'll see if they can pull that off. MaechenX, coach of Shoometal, Alchemists, and Jayblack of Chronic Fatigue, both sitting with 13 points, and in very similar fashion to the first and second seed, MaechenX has the head-to-head tiebreaker here, which puts him in third. King Delita, coach of Archknights, though, in fifth place, currently sitting at 12 points. He would be the cutoff for the playoffs if it ended right now, but we have 3 more weeks of matches. Highwind, coach of Tears for Spears, with 10, so not too far out of that top 5 spot. Willy Goats of the Corpse Brigade has a bit of work cut out for him with 7 points, and same with AllSmokedUp of the Trap Queens. JohnnyB of Disposable Heroes also with 6. It should be interesting to see if any of these teams can make a late surge to try and make that top 5. Taiyo of Fire Force, unfortunately, I don't think can make the playoffs. I think he is mathematically out of it. Even though he can hit 13, I don't think it's possible for him to make it at 13. That being said, he has been probably the most entertaining team of this division, even sitting at last place, so I can't wait to see what he's got cooked up this week and the next couple of weeks. So I hope you guys are excited. I am all ready to break down these matches. Let's jump into them. Heading into this series of MaechenX of the Shoometal Alchemists versus Taiyo, coach of Fire Force. Taiyo has been one of the most entertaining of teams all season so far, looking to try and get their first series win, and MaechenX looking to keep their spot in the playoffs here with a few weeks remaining. Looking like MaechenX is running Cloud, Freyevia, and Livial, something he ran last week to great success against Jayblack, as Heart of Flutter comes out from the Freyevia. Obviously that concentration buff from Cloud, Enchanting Mist coming out from the Livial here. And what does Terra go for? It goes for Ray of Hope. Okay, nullifying a few different status effects. I know Livial has Arithmetician sub, so maybe this is for the Disable. Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure what that would be used for, but that could be very well for that reason. Re-Ray's coming out from the Yuna, though, so Rain is going to be very, very bulky and hard to kill, especially against AoE attacks. He actually used the King Mont TMR, so he might actually have 100 AoE resist right now. He might only take 1 damage from an AoE attack, which is just kind of crazy. Livial, I don't think going to be in range to deal any damage. Just going to go for Enchanting Mist again onto her and Freyevia. So she has hate down, so even if Freyevia does somehow go down, she's going to have hate down unless she starts dealing damage. Yuna's going to walk to the side very oddly, but she is out of buff. She has nothing left to go for. Crescent Riot Blade, I don't think this is even going to do this much damage. There's still a 3-hit 70% barrier on Freyevia, and yeah, she tanks that up very well. 1000 damage. Spirit piercing rate up onto the Terra, though, as speaking of magic barriers, Rain actually gets his own online, getting some more hate and a not as strong magic barrier. Soldier's Honor coming out from Cloud again, so onto Livial, just kind of refreshing that buff. Freyevia, what is she going to go for? Spellveil Blade. That was actually 0 damage from Rain. Apparently that must be how it's calculated, because he has a barrier and otherwise would have taken 1 damage. I don't know how that calculation works, but Stonega lands poison onto Terra, which is rough to see if you are a Taiyo. She's going to take a chunk of damage here. Yeah, 1600. Rain's going to try and drop the fire attack resistance onto Freyevia. We'll see how much this matters. The second hit doing way more, as now this barrier is offline. Enhanced Holy from Yuna. Does it do... Yeah, only 512. Good lord, this Freyevia is bulky. That is just insane to see. Even with the magic barrier being gone, just not doing a whole lot of damage. What can Livial go for here? Should be an AoE, and I imagine we will see Rain take 0 damage, but how much does it do to the Terra is the question, as Freyevia just heals up a bunch of damage that she just took. The Stonega lance actually one-shots Yuna. Wow, Livial eating her Wheaties here, as Undermine doing a little bit of chip damage to Freyevia, but I'm just looking at this, guys, and there's no way they're going to be able to get through her, as she actually disables the tank, which would be very fortunate if this fight wasn't already over. But this cross slash from Cloud is going to do so much. 11.7k. Freyevia would clean this up, but she can't act. She's just going to stand there and look pretty. She's doing a great job of that. As Flare comes out from Livial, this should kill Rain before the re-raise comes through, but Cloud should be able to clean this up, and Rain actually won't even get another action. He's just going to go for a standard attack here, 4,300 damage, and that is a game 1 victory for the Shoometal Alchemists. Heading into game 2, seeing what the switch up is. The Shoometal Alchemists bringing the exact same team as game 1, but Taiyo bringing a couple of fire damage dealers along with a time mage in the back. So a little bit of positioning change coming out from MaechenX's side, though. Cloud and Livial on the other wall compared to the wall that Freyevia is now currently on. But it looks like the buff rotation is the same. The bells popped immediately by Setia, though, so she's going to have tons of AP. Enchanting Mist again coming out from the Livial. So yeah, exact same turn rotation from Machen. Commune with Espers comes out from Terra, though, and we've seen some of this stuff before, guys. Taiyo is going to go with some summon shenanigans, and I can't wait to see what comes out from this. It should be really exciting. Soldier's Honor going to go off from Cloud again, so he's just going to use all the AoE buffs that he has. Is Livial in range to deal damage here? It actually goes for the height 3 disable. Disable does not land. And I think that pretty much all but confirms what that Ray of Hope was about in game 1. Livial can go for this, and I think Taiyo may be expecting it on this map with tons of height ranges. Actually lands the stun from Setia onto the Freyevia, dealing about 3,500 damage too. That's actually very nice, as Magitech Barrier is now onto Terra. We'll have to see how this goes here. A Quicken coming out from Elshra onto the Terra. Can she do a good chunk onto this Freyevia? Last time she could not, but Bamboo Splitter is 4,000, and I think that breaks barriers if I'm not mistaken. Blizziga Blade only doing about 700, barely healing her up at all, as the momentum comes out from Cloud. So he is finally able to use this TMR. I expect that Machen probably wanted him to use this last time. Padfoot coming out from the Livial. So making sure that those buffs don't go onto Freyevia allows these two units to get hasted up, and they are looking very scary from the side here, as Freyevia is taking a good chunk from this Setia, though. She's going to be stunned up again, which means she cannot act, but Cloud's going to walk up and triple slash the Setia. No reflex there, as Cloud with Bradley TMR has 100% reaction block rate, so she cannot dodge that with a reflex. Enchanting Mist going to come up on the Livial, and this looks rough for Taiyo here. With Setia being gone already, I don't know. It's going to be a really uphill climb. Terra might be able to take out Freyevia. No, she's actually going... Freyevia's out of hate. She was not able to get any more hate down because she's been stunned this whole time. Crescent Riot Blade, how much damage does this do? Lands the kill onto Livial. Is this a Quicken or is this a full life? This is a Quicken. If she can kill Cloud here, Taiyo could actually pull this off. No way. Bamboo Splitter, 7,000. Oh my god, guys. I thought MaechenX was easily going to win this because Cloud and Livial were kind of storming in here. But I think Taiyo's got this in the bag. Terra should be able to do a decent amount of damage. And this is the Esper. This is that Esper tech. It is the Dark Ifrit. And that didn't do a whole lot of damage. But I saw some stuff in Discord that Taiyo posted. This drops the enemy's fire resistance by like 50%. It's actually crazy. So this next hit onto Freyevia should do a good chunk of damage from Terra. Fryevia's actually going to lap. She's going to go again. Oh my god, is she going for a full life? Slate Wiper is 6,300, though. She's not going to allow her to get an opportunity to do that. And yeah, Taiyo brings it back to a game 3. That is awesome to see. Let's check out the final game. Heading into the final game of this series, guys, it should be exciting. MaechenX switching, or not switching, keeping the exact same team comp as last time. This positioning, I think it's the same as last time. Maybe slightly different. I think it is the same as last time. Freyevia might be a space forward or something like that. Soldier's Honor coming out from Cloud, though. So no concentration buff. I think he opted for that the first turn last time. As Enchanting Mist coming out from the Livial, so maybe trying to make sure that Bradley TMR goes off on turn 2. That could be the switch up. Commune with Espers coming up again from Terra. I think this is the exact same start as game 2. Preventative Medicine, though. Wow, a great tech. I think that is the Minwu TMR, and it disables, or nullifies rather, Disable and Stun, which are both status effects that can come out from Taiyo's team. A very smart switch up from MaechenX here, as Cloud's going to walk into the entire party and get an AoE buff. Fire Blessing going to give some resistances and effect range. I'm not sure how much those are going to matter, though. And you have to wonder, can Taiyo still pull off a win if he is not able to stun the tank like last time? That's my question. Magitech Barrier coming out from Terra. And Preventative Medicine again. Not sure why she opted for that a second time. Maybe she didn't do it onto Cloud last time. The reflex, though, dodging the Stone Guff from Livial, but the poison still lands independent of the damage. That is a very weird mechanic. But regardless, Quicken comes out onto Terra. Crescent Riot Blade should come through. But again, I don't think this is going to do that much damage. I think she got her barrier off. No, 3,400. She did not get her barrier off. There's no way. There's no way she has that online at the moment. Cloud going to go next, though. Can he get Terra down to her courage? No, actually goes for the sharpshoot. Can't find any sort of slash attack due to the height range issue. And now Setia should be in range to hit the Fryevia. Flame Binding Bowshot does 7,200 though. Maybe the stun won't matter if they're able to just immediately get through her. That was a ton of damage. Liviel going to go for another AoE here as Taunting Spell from Fryevia, so now she does have a ton more hate than the first, or not first game, second game rather. Flare coming through on Terra though, 9,200. And Liviel's got her big girl pants on. Holy crap. Here comes the Esper. Flames of Rebirth, though. I've never seen this animation in a fight other than when Taiyo did it, like, last week. This is so funny to me, but it's a full heal along with regen. I'm honestly not sure that they needed it, but the map effect might actually make a difference for Setia's damage. The question is she even going to get a chance to do anything? Triple Slash comes out from Cloud. Without the King Bradley TMR, Setia had an opportunity to reflex, but it wasn't going to matter. There were 3 healthy units on the other side. GG's. Congratulations to MaechenX. Game 1 of the Corpse Brigade versus Disposable Heroes. Willy Goats and JohnnyB here, as JohnnyB is running a couple of fire evasion units along with Mia, trying to dodge some hits as evasion skills is going to help do just that. Yuffie's going to go with the Brumal Form plus guaranteed hit nullification along with that one-time shield to try and protect her. And Shadowcast coming up from Mia, which also gives her some reaction block rate, which will be nice against somebody like Skahal, whose debilitating counter can be crippling. Skahal's actually going to run that Celis TMR to nullify a couple of statuses, also get that Spirit Up. The Spirit Up won't do a whole lot, though, as the Lamega is going to pop the Lock TMR, and Drain Glyph, the Alphonse TMR, coming out from Gafgarian. So a couple of dark units along with the Thunder Mage here, as the Courage and Physical Damage Up is ready to go for Pissarro. Yuffie's going to be in range to deal some damage, though. She's going to jump up into the sky with what is most likely a Dragon Dive as Fleet of Foot from Mia. So this is the Katone TMR. Going to be nice to get hate down and movement, but she's going to be targeted by Skahal here, and if this hit lands, she is gone in one hit. Dragon Dive hits both dark units. Unfortunately, Willie's Lamega walked right into the AoE as the Thunderga Disposer misses Mia. The evasion is on point, looking from JohnnyB's side. Surge Strike is a guaranteed hit. With that Drain Glyph, TMR is going to heal up a little bit, but it's not going to matter. Binding Javelin from the Pissarro way up on the perch is dealing a ton of damage. Throw comes out from Yuffie, and this is very quickly a 3v1. And Skahal is a beast of a unit, but we already saw that he was unable to hit Mia. Looks like he's running that Wizard Staff to try and get some CT up when he gets knocked down a bit. It's a decent tech, but I imagine this is probably going to hit Yuffie 0 times, if I had to guess, if it's already dodged by Mia. 2 out of the 3 land on the Mia, and Skahal actually heals himself back up, I think, above the 70% threshold, which is nice. But Pissarro is going to land the Courage anyway, or bring him down to Courage, rather. Yuffie's going to finish him off, and regardless, this is going to be a very clean Game 1 win for JohnnyB. Heading into the second game of this series here, looks like JohnnyB bringing Noctis for the first time, I think, all season. I don't think we've seen him yet. Halloween, Little Leela, and Mia, so this is definitely a below full cost team, but maybe Noctis with an anti-lightning build? Looks like Willy Goats is changing stuff up, though. Full mage composition with Skahal, Aerith, and Severo. Bell's going to be popped online for Noctis, so he's got plenty of AP. Unfortunately, does not have his 140 yet, but I'm excited to see him regardless. Protective Familiar comes out from Aerith to get that magic barrier on the team. And Severo's going to go with Wake Up Impact. This is Elsrel's TMR to guarantee accuracy, so Willy Goat's definitely expecting the Fire Evasion squad for a second time, but JohnnyB says not so fast, I'm switching it up. Is that the right decision? We'll have to see. That Bradley TMR as well onto the Mia, so she's very nice and speedy. So I imagine Skahal should be going for Halloween Little Leela here. If he hits this, this could legitimately one-shot her. He is very scary. Noctis going to go with the Skyhammer, though. 8,000 damage. Unfortunately, does not have his follow-up attack ready, or else that would have been a dead Skahal. And did I say he was hitting Little Leela? He's also hitting Mia. That is a double kill. So much damage coming out from him, as Height-Based Cure will top her up. But yeah, unfortunately, that follow-up not being online, so Skahal's first death does not count, and he's just going to be healed to full here. And this is looking very good for Willy Goats here. Even if Noctis has a ton of lightning resist, Skahal can still use Flare, which can do a lot of damage, and Severo is no joke, doing 3,500. Nice bit of chip here. Skahal should be able to take out Halloween Little Leela unless she can do something first. Can she find an AoE? She's actually going for a full life. She's channeling this here. Skyhammer, a good chunk of damage, also dropping the CT, but this cast is going to go off. Flare should one-shot before the full life ever comes through. And unfortunate there for little Leela. I imagine Aerith is just going to go for another heal here. And tons of AP on this Cahal. I imagine he's probably going to go for a flare for a second time in a row. Noctis going to go Warp Strike, and he's just a great matchup into this Cahal. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. When you have a healer in the back line for this Cahal, it just makes things so terrifying. JohnnyB, unfortunately, with the team switch up, does not pay off for him in game 2, but we are heading to a game 3. Final game of this series, guys. Two teams who have a very, very slim chance of making the playoffs. At least whoever wins this does. The loser will not be in the playoffs. It will be in the toilet bowl for sure. So a big match between these two teams. The evasion skills coming out from Pissarro, Brumal Form Plus from Yuffie. So just like game number 1, Mia also going to go with the Shadow Cast. So other than positioning change, this is the same team as game 1 from JohnnyB. Willie Goats is running his game 2 team again, though. So I do expect to see the Elsorel TMR come in again for increased accuracy as the Wingstaff buff is online. Severo should go for it. Yep, Wake Up Impact. This is the Elsorel TMR. I think it's 30 accuracy. It's either 25 or 30 on the party. I'm curious to see that if that is enough, though, because Cahal missed all 3 hits on his limit break on Yuffie last time, who is now not only very dodgy, but also hasted up from the King Bradley TMR. The Katone TMR coming up from Mia again, so she's got tons of movement. Also getting that hate down to try and make sure the team targets Yuffie. Cahal's got enough accuracy to at least attempt to target her, though. What does he go for? Runes of Mind and Destruction. So Silence, Paralysis, and Berserk Nullification. Accurate enough. Actually kills the Mia, procs the one-hit shield on Yuffie. So if she gets hit by another one of those, I think she's dead. I'm curious to see if the accuracy is high enough consistently, or if just happened to connect that time. We'll have to see here. So Dragon Dive comes out, though. That's a lot of damage. Also dropping some healing power. Aerith should be going for a limit break, and here it is on the entire party. I imagine this is probably still enough to full heal the party. But we'll have to see here. Severo, crucially, not getting his Courage proc could be important. And I'm curious to see if Severo has the accuracy to hit, as Yuffie is going to dodge at least one of these hits. She turned and faced him. What is the accuracy like? She dodges 2 out of 3. So that first hit he hit with might have been kind of lucky. Water Gut Perpetuator from Severo, though, is accurate enough to hit Pissarro and one-shots. Gets him down to Courage. And this whole fight is pretty much just going to come down to, can they manage to hit this team? No re-raise currently on this Cahal, as Dragon Dive is going to hit the AoE. It's going to drop Cahal, and Aerith does not have full life in her kit. So I think this is game over here. Unless Aerith has a massive AoE damage spell that's guaranteed hit, which I just don't see. The slow tech is actually very cool, but I don't think there's any way that Aerith can do damage, which means it should be over other than like an Esper. Maybe an Esper guaranteed hit could do damage. She's not going to get a chance, though. Discontinuum Plus is going to go off. Reactionary Heal does basically nothing from the healing power down. Yuffie's going to follow up with a 4100 damage jump. And that is a series victory for JohnnyB and the Disposable Heroes. GG, well played. Game number 1 of Jayblack's Chronic Fatigue versus Sandrooster's Unicorn Gunfight. It looks like Sandrooster is running the double lightning composition with Renan, Ravis, and Phoebe here. I don't think we've seen this team yet this season from Sandrooster, as the Boon of the Lion, the King Mont TMR comes out from Renan. Sharpshooting stance coming out from Lucia. So a double missile comp along with Snow as the tank from Jayblack's side. Reprieve is going to come out from Snow, so he's got his Courage online. And what is the tank from the other side going to do? She's going to go Heart of Flutter, a TMR we've seen plenty of times here. The Sweetheart Ildira TMR going to upgrade that movement and the unit attack resist. Is this the Haste or the Phoebe coming out from Phoebe, though? And well executed, I think, by Sandrooster, as the Quicken comes out onto Renan, using the movement of Ravis to get out of the way so that the Quicken lands on the damage dealer. So the nimble movement comes out from Renan. So it looks like running that Kododama sub job, as this should be another Quicken from Phoebe. Sharpshoot comes out from Lucia, doing about 4,000 damage. So that's a very good start for Jayblack here. What can Snow follow up with? Gonna go with the Close Call. This is the HP recovery. And Ravis should be next. What's she going to go for? A Taunting Blade will gather some hate, but she does a not so great thing for Sandrooster's team, as she's going to back up and walk right next to the damage dealers. But what can Renan get away with here? He's going to start channeling a spell. This should be some damage. Curry going to go next. Start channeling a spell. This should be a Mega Charge. Bursting Light does 7,500 though. Going to healed right back up by the snow as 2,400 comes out from the Curry. And I actually don't think that was a Mega Charge. I think that was Supercharge. I'm actually surprised that's turned on from Jayblack's Curry here. The Knight's Blessing team are coming out from Phoebe is very nice, so to give a barrier to Ravi's and heal her back to full. Sharpshoot's going to start eating through that barrier, and Snow is going to try and get through it as well. Ravage comes through. Did I see that? Did that not do any damage? Did I miss something there? Bedeviling Blade comes out from the Ravi's. And now I'm wondering, does Ravi's have 100% strike resist? Am I crazy? I swear that did 0 damage. Falgur's Thunderblast coming out from the Renan, though, does about 8180 to the Snow, so he still has Courage online, but he's just barely hanging on here. And Curry's been putting a little bit of work in, but he's out of AP, so he's just going to go for a standard attack onto the Ravi's, and she's hanging on really well. They're very slowly, I should say actually somewhat quickly, getting rid of this Snow. Lucy's going to have to put in a bunch of work here, though, and she does so. Spiteful Blast takes out the Phoebe, almost kills Ravi's, who's almost out of AP. She does not proc Courage on Snow. This is huge for Jayblack. Can he pull off this win here? 32 AP on Snow. Smite 2 does damage to the Ravi, so I don't know. Maybe I was missing something earlier, as it looks like Smite 2 takes out the Ravi, so she must not have 100 strike resist, but Sky Splitting Thunder Strike gets reflexed by the Lucia. It one-shots Curry, but does that reflex end up mattering? We'll have to see here. Snow goes for about 1,900 damage. That gets healed back instantly from the Renan. Lucia with 29 AP. What can she get done? She closes the gap to land a Sharpshoot. Lucia, you got to back up to do that. That is not good, as Sky Splitting Thunder Strike is going to remove the Courage from Snow. It's going to land a double kill, and that's a game 1 victory for Unicorn Gunfight. Heading into game 2 here, and I'm realizing that Snow I don't think had any defense piercing, and that is why Ravi's took 0 damage along with the barrier. Obviously, using the Smite 2 increases his defense piercing, which is why he did more the next time. So my dumbass didn't realize that at the time, but now he realizes it. Blessing of the Truth coming out from the Edward Elric and Keenblade from Delita. So Sandrooster is running a Ravi's, Edward Elric, and Delita composition, as Ravi's is going to go with that same TMR as game number 1. Jayblack sticking with the same comp, though, thinking he might have a chance, maybe turning off a couple of skills. I wonder to see if that Supercharge will be turned off this time, as Lucia starts to fight off with 3k damage onto the Ravi's. Reprieve comes out from Snow, so he's got his Courage online. And I don't think there is Courage removal from the other side. There is Re-Raise removal on Delita, but I don't think there's Courage removal here, so that Courage will be useful. Automail's Crux going to come out from Edward, so he's got AP Restore. He's got a bunch of Dispel going on. And Delita's going to pop the Hazard form, sacrifice a little bit of his life for a little extra damage. Not sure if that's a good way to go or not. It will give him some AP, which he needs. I don't think he has a ton of buffs really to use. Taunting Blade comes out from the Ravi's, doing a little bit of chip to the Snow, gathering up some hate. What does Lucia have in store, though? Spiteful Blast only lands on the Ravi's. Can't quite find the angle on Delita, but it lands the slow and does a good amount of damage. Smite 2 also going to remove any buffs that Ravi's had, so she is not going to have as much unit attack resist as she had before. Here comes the Edward Elric, 4,000 damage onto Snow. Considering the elemental disadvantage, still pretty good chunk here. 83 AP onto the Curry, though. What does he go for? This time it is the Mega Charge. Drops the unit attack resist and kills the Ravi's. And this is looking much better for Sandrooster, or for Jayblack, excuse me, than the previous game. Delita's going to proc the Courage onto Snow, but he's still hanging on with 1 health. Curry's going to start channeling another spell. This should again be a Mega Charge. Sharpshoot comes out from Lucia. 3,200 damage is a good start. But Edward Elric, what can he get done? Can he find an AoE? He cannot. He goes for Constricting Cleave, kills the Snow, and is going to close the gap here. Can these missile units kill these units before they close in? Curry almost one-shots Edward. I thought he was going for Delita, but Delita finds the backline double kill, and good lord, this old Final Fantasy Tactics unit kind of just popping off right at the end. Heading into this series, we've got Highwind's Tears for Spears versus Zhalk's Boco Buddy. Zhalk is currently 1 series win away from clinching a playoff spot, and Highwind up against it against Zhalk, a very, very strong opponent. He is trying to get a win to increase his playoff chances, as it looks like Highwind is running a anti-physical tank in Moraga, along with Lucio and Katia, so very much expecting the dark composition from the other side. Moraga's going to go with the Courage buff and start walking forward. What does Katia have in store for us as she starts channeling a spell? And it looks like the other side for Zhalk, we've got sweet support, Little Ela the Bold TMR coming off from Grace, so she is going to be there to heal along with the tank. Dark, Little Leela, SR unit, and Sephiroth. Taunting spell doing just a tiny bit of damage to the Moraga, and I do expect a ton of light resist coming out from Zhalk and dark resistance coming out from Highwind. We'll have to see who wins that battle here. So Lucio is notorious for being very strong versus dark. And so that could be a pretty major advantage for Highwind going into this Sephiroth here. A lot of spells being channeled. Light's Blessing, so some unit attack resist. Agility up. Erase Bright Ward goes up, though, and that is very good against any sort of debuffs that could come through from the other team. Taunting Blade from Moraga not doing a whole lot of damage. In fact, the regen proc coming out from the Grace as Bar Lightra. So light attack resist up from this side, dark attack resist from the other side. This could be a little bit of a wet noodle fight, actually, because we might get a lot of damage mitigation from both sides. What is Sephiroth going to go for, though? Hell's Gate, yeah, only 2296. Very, very nicely tanked by the Moraga here as Erase Bright Ward is going to go off again. Just further CT up for the Kadia. Grace with the regen is going to basically heal just right up to full. And what is she going to go for? Is this an offensive spell or a support spell? But Scintilla, the reaction is Elementalist. It does almost 7,000 damage to Lucio. Good lord. This limit break from Lucio does drop the light attack resist, which is nice. And it looks like Lucio is probably running that Blood Sword. But man, oh man, that reaction for Zhalk, very unfortunate for Highwind here, as he's going to go for it again. 4,800 damage. Man, unfortunate here for Highwind. I'm not sure how much reaction block rate he has in the kit, but unfortunately a couple of times in a row here. The Cura does land on the Moraga, who I expect to be able to take one more hit here. Hell's Gate, though, actually does 7,600 to Lucio, way more than I expected. And that, along with the reaction, is enough to take him out. And at this point, I just don't know that Highwind has enough damage to get through this team comp. Moraga's very bulky, but he does not have the damage to get through these guys, especially with the Kiriga coming out from the Grace. And this team from Zhalk that hasn't been impressive all year. He's had a few different compositions that he's ran around Sephiroth to great success, and this is one of them. Looking like it is probably going to be a game 1 victory, as Sephiroth's best option is actually just the standard attack because there's so much dark resist coming out from the other side. And I imagine AoE resist as well. Silence Blade coming out from the Little Leela. Not really going to do a whole lot to this Moraga. Eventually, I imagine they should be able to whittle through, or he will run out of hate. But with that Taunting Blade, he had quite a bit to start out here. Standard attack again, just from the Sephiroth, is his most effective option. And that just goes to show how well that Highwind did, like how well Highwind did at stacking up some of those defenses on his party. Kurata comes out again for another 6,000, and I'm starting to wonder, will they ever be able to get through this guy? Telluric Fury comes out for the 3-hit chain. So maybe some of that dark resistance fading away or something like that. I'm not sure why he opted for it that time rather than the standard attack, but Little Leela will chain up to get the Courage proc, as Kadia is probably going to go for another heal here, and this Moraga has survived so long. Unfortunately, unless Lucio was here to deal more damage, though, this really doesn't matter, as Grace is literally sitting here not doing any damage, just getting more light resist up on the party. And man, oh man, I feel like I've watched this same action happen about 20 times already. This hard slash come through, this Moraga is just freaking unkillable. He is still alive, and Kadia might go for another heal here. As much as I think it's pretty inevitable that Zhalk is going to win this, this is actually insane how long that Moraga has lasted in this fight. Between all these heals from Kadia and him just being a very successful tank, Sephiroth should be able to finally claim this kill, as Kadia's channeling is taking a little bit too long. The Dark Mega Flare, so maybe there's an AoE? No, it's not. He just goes for the Esper to take him out instead of the standard attack. Kadia's heal, or whatever this is probably going to whiff, and that is exactly what it is. It is a Kurata, so this might not go to turn. Sephiroth might be able to clean her up before these last 6 actions go past, as we get some sort of text message on the player's phone. But there's the limit break. Poor Kadia, she's going to get destroyed by this. 6,100 damage. She does have some AoE resist in her kit, so she does survive 1 hit, but that's really all she's going to go for. I don't think she has full life in her kit. I do think she has Raise, which is maybe what she's going for. Either that or heal on herself. But Silencing Spell. And this is one of those fights that it's just kind of crazy, because I think we knew what was going to happen very early on once Lucio dropped. But the fact that Moraga and Kadia literally lasted until the last action is just insane and shows how well that Highwind designed his team to tank up damage. So can he figure out a way with positioning or maybe not getting the reaction or something like that to make Lucio survive longer? And does he go with the same comp in game 2? We'll have to find out, and let's jump into it. Game 2 here, guys, and it looks like some of the same stuff coming out from Highwind. Actually, a little surprised they got rid of the Moraga because he tanked so well, but Highwind might be thinking that he just needs more damage in his kit. So still running that Lucio, but also running Dark Fina and Mish. I do expect somebody like Mish might actually be a good answer. He can actually do something like Flare, and some of that Elementalist and especially single target damage against Sephiroth can be very, very effective, especially because it can barrier break and stuff like that. So the sweet support still coming out from Grace. Very similar turn rotation coming out from Zhalk. In fact, it might be the exact same turn rotation. This is Heart of Flutter coming out from Little Leela, the SR. I don't remember if she used this last time, but getting that movement and jump up as well as unit attack resist. Steady Summer Flower. I still need to look up whose TMR this is, as I've seen this come out a couple of times to nullify certain status effects, but I'm not sure whose TMR that is. I imagine it's probably Summer Katone if I had to guess. And here comes Lucio. What is he going to go for? He's going to go for the Tri-Slasher. That actually did very little damage. I'm surprised he didn't go for something like the Limit Break, but he might not have been able to find that that spot on the ground to be able to do it. Maybe it was a height range issue, or maybe that lamppost was in the way. I'm not entirely sure here. 900 damage from the standard attack from Little Leela, though, and that shows how high that dark resist is on Lucio, as she opts for that instead of the silencing spell or something like that. Abyssal Mire does 2200, drops the CT a little bit, but Sephiroth should be able to find an opening. And man, standard attack crit for 6400 damage. The Sephiroth is just on roids. That is absolutely nuts. Bar Lytra again, and I imagine Lucio might be doing the same thing back. Oh my goodness, gets cut in half by the Scintilla. 7,700 damage from a counter. It's just absolutely nuts. And what can Dark Fina do? Goes for Law of Geoabsorption. Actually good AoE on the entire party, but Sephiroth, you can see, just tanked it so damn well. This guy is just not okay. Counter Cure comes out, 5,300 heal onto the Dark Fina. CT up might allow her to take her another turn sooner, but Silence Blade's gonna go. The Silence lands, and I think that's GG's, guys. I don't see how Mish can carry this 1v3. Dark Fina Silence is going to be a pretty useless unit, unfortunately. Curses comes in threes, is good damage, actually kills the healer. So that's a nice thing here, but if Dark Fina wasn't silenced, I would say maybe there's a chance. But with that, I just don't see it. I don't think Sephiroth's going to be able to find an AoE on both. So he goes for the Limit Break on a Dark Fina, and this should be able to take her out in one hit, I believe. Yeah, 10,000 damage is good enough, and it removes that re-raise. Mish, what do you got in the tank, buddy? I'm pulling for you, man. Silence Blade comes out from the Little Leela. 3,200 does not land the silence. Can you, like, Toad Sephiroth or something and get some AoEs down? Flare might actually do a decent amount of damage. I'm curious to see how much this does. Yeah, 6,600. So this kind of proves my point earlier in the fight that I think Mish was a great bring by Highwind. A bit unfortunate that that Scintilla reaction went off again. I'm curious to see how much damage Lucio would have done. I don't think it would have mattered in the grand scheme of things, but man, oh man, Sephiroth just going absolutely nuts into both games. GG's, and congrats to Zhalk. Game number 1 of the Arc Knights versus the Trap Queens. King Delita versus AllSmokedUp here. And AllSmokedUp is running a double Pierce composition with Elda, Eileen, and Celis to try and soak any sort of magical hits from the other side, as King Delita's running Dario, Ildira, and Orlando, running this Ildira's Theorem plus Keenblade strategy to try and get this CT up on the entire party. It works very, very well here, as the Dario is going to go with Heart of Flutter, getting that Sweetheart Ildira TMR and walking forward. So he is just way the hell up here, but AllSmokedUp's units will take a turn, and actually Eileen is running the Zaza on the Unkillable TMR, the Kingpin's Cackle, getting that Earth Resistance penetration up. Very interesting. Set the Pace comes out from Elda. I do think it is hilarious to picture him wearing some sort of dress by Addison Rae, but regardless, I think that was the Black Rose Helena TMR coming out from Ildira. Crest of the Black Lion Plus coming out from Orlando, so he's got some AoE res, some status nullifications, and AP restore. Water Gun interesting. Good lord, coming out from the Celis, doing a little bit of chip onto the Dario as he finds some hate and some AoE damage on the other side. What can Eileen find here, though? Piercing Impulse does a lot to the Dario. That Earth Resistance penetration, I'm sure helping out at least a little bit. Armor Piercer going to drop the defense, and this Dario is really getting chunked out. Can Celis land a kill? Not quite. Rune Break does 1800, I believe, but he is just hanging on here as Hallowed Bolt Extreme comes out from the Orlando. Good damage onto both Eileen and Celis here. Dario is going to go next. Aeroga Blade Life Friend removes any sort of debuffs from him and buffs from the Celis. Height 2 Kiriga comes out from the Ildira, and that is brutal to see if you're all smoked up. So much damage that you just put in gets nullified. The Nighthawk from Eileen does a good chunk, but they need to get rid of this Dario or they are going to lose. Void Piercer does 4900. I don't know if Celis has enough damage to take him out. Rune Break is 1311. Again, drops the Spirit, but this Dario is just too tanky for this lineup to take out, and Ildira is going to heal him right back as Orlando finds the double kill. And in this 3v1 situation, you have to imagine King Delita's Archknights are going to win this game 1. Ildira says, screw the healing, I'm done with that shit. Level 3 or 4, whatever it was, Waterga doing a good chunk of damage onto the Elda, draining seal onto the Dario, and here should be Orlando cleaning up this fight, finding the kill here, and that is a game 1 victory for the Archknights. Game 2 here of the Archknights versus the Trap Queens. Looks like King Delita is switching it up, and so is AllSmokedUp. Both teams are different from the first game. Sign of Safeguarding coming out from the farm with that guaranteed hit nullification and the AoE buff for the teammates, with a double dark composition coming out from King Delita. Invitation to Despair, one of the brand new TMRs to our game, as Little Leo the Bold is also going to pop a new TMR. Jealous Wrath from Vega to try and berserk the enemy units here. And I will say Garvel has some guaranteed hits, but they're going to be nullified on this farm. Literally the Bold is typically a pretty accurate unit, but without her 140, will she be accurate enough? We'll have to find out here. Boon of the Line coming out from the Murmur, getting the AoE resist up on the entire party. Garvel gonna walk forward. He is out of buffs at this moment. Little Leo the Bold, can she find damage? Not yet. She's going to go Pure Hearts Never Die, get some AoE resist and the Courage. Farm with a lot of movement, I imagine might be able to reach somebody. She can. Hien goes for about 3,200 on the Garvel. Not too bad, as Magic Burst comes out from the Celis, also doing a good chunk of damage to the Garvel. And what does Murmur go for? I imagine this is a heal onto the party. Cyrell looks like is also out of buffs, just like Garvel. But what can he find here? Spirit Blaster gets soaked up by the Celis, and this Celis is looking to do a ton of work for this Garvel. Literally, the Bold's going to have to do a lot of damage. Removes the Protect and drops healing power, which is nice. But honestly, she soaked that pretty well. Oborozuki coming out from the farm, though, landing the kill on Garvel. And AllSmokedUp is looking pretty darn good here in this game number 2. Can he bring it to a game 3? Cyrell still with absolutely nothing to do. She's trying to reverse the map as quickly as she can, but she is the tortoise out here. And here comes Celis with 123 AP. He's going to find a Magic Burst onto both units, landing those debuffs onto both units as well. Farm, can she find an AoE? She cannot, but she finds the kill on the Murmur, who is the healer. And AllSmokedUp looking really good in this game too. I think should be able to find this win. Wicked Pummel lands the Berserk onto Celis, but it's on the tank. Might not be the biggest deal in the world. Cyrell's going to finally find some damage. 2,700 onto the Little Ela here. And Farm with 45 AP should also be able to chain up with this. Lands the Hien, and it gets her to Courage. And it does not matter if Celis is berserked or not, because she just needs 1 damage. She's going to find it. And that is a Game 2 victory for the Trap Queens. Game 3 here, guys, and AllSmokedUp of the Trap Queens versus King Delita's Archknights. We've got brand new teams again. These are 3 different teams from both teams in all 3 games. Kind of insane here, as Enchanting Skies comes out from the Summer Helena, the AoE Protect buff coming out from Orlando using that Flagbearer Glassy TMR, Keenblade coming out from the Elda on the other side, and Venera is a unit we have not seen a whole lot this season. Excited to see how this works though. Regalia Glaciella, she's going to start channeling a spell. It's going to be the Protect onto Venera, so she has that White Mage sub job equipped. Elda going to go with the Sharp Spear instead of his own Limit Break. So interesting strategy coming out from AllSmokedUp. Not sure if Elda's got any hate or used as a hate here. Will they maybe try and use Venera as an evasion tank? Treasures Hunter's Fortune comes out from the Venera. And now I'm wondering, is this also an evasion Elda? Is he also build dodgy? I'm sure that Venera is. But Summer Helena is going to refresh this buff on the entire team. Silver Wolf's Grace, again, getting refreshed. That TMR with 2 uses instead of 1. And Elda's going to finally pop his limit break. So it appears that Sharp Spear takes precedent over Leonis Barrier in his AI. I would have no idea. I have never used Elda before in my entire life. Venera's going to walk back, treasures Hunter's Fortune on the Regalia Glaciella, so she really likes this buff as well, as we're seeing tons of stuff being refreshed all over the battlefield. But here comes the Mermaid Dance from Summer Helena. How much damage is this going to do to Elda here? 4,400 and drops the AoE resist. Decent amount, as he does have that 3-hit barrier. And Glaciella, what can she find for damage? She says dreams come true. How much damage is this going to do? It's going to give her some AP restore. About half of the health bar, actually a little more than half of the health bar to the Summer Helena, soaked up pretty well by the Murmur, not surprisingly, as she is an Earth unit. Crush Armor Plus, though, Glaciella Regalia actually soaks that decently well. Kira is not going to full heal Summer Helena. It's going to get her close, but not all the way. But Surge Strike, good lord, from the Elda takes her out in one hit. And she didn't have that courage online. So, wow, AllSmokedUp out to a 3v2 lead. Although, in total health, I think it's pretty even at the moment. Height 3, Holy Knight's Purge going to come out from the Glaciella, just doing a little bit of chip, but does land the Immobilize on Orlando. He can't move from this spot, but I think he found an AoE regardless, which will give him haste. Swordplay, Thunder God, kills the Regalia Glaciella, heals himself up with that Blood Sword equipped. Elda tanks the hit, but will he tank this? I expect this to be a flare coming out from Murmur. She is channeling the spell. I expect it to be offensive. Unless this is an S-Una, this is a flare. But good lord, Elda. Where is this coming from? Absolutely decimates Orlando, almost kills Murmur, and you've got to be kidding me. AllSmokedUp picks up the Game 3 victory on the back of Elda Leonis, who I truly think, or at least thought, might be the worst you are in the game, but he put on a showcase, put on a clinic in that game 3. That was insane. GG's, and very well played by AllSmokedUp. All right, guys, 7 weeks over and done with. We've got 2 weeks remaining, and these are how the division standings shake out for the Leonis division. In first place, we've got Sandrooster of Unicorn Gunfight with 18, and Zhalk of Boco Buddies both with 18 as well. Both of these teams have officially clinched a playoff spot and will be fighting for the title here in the Season 3 playoffs. I will say neither one has officially clinched a top 3 spot yet. However, one of the two is guaranteed no matter what to be top 3. It's just not technically guaranteed that both of them are. Hopefully that makes sense, but there is a weird situation that could happen where one of these two teams could end up in 4th, but one of them will be top 3 regardless. MaechenX of the Shoometal Alchemists does not technically clinch a playoff spot for himself yet. The only way that he cannot be in the top 5 is if AllSmokedUp of the Trap Queens ends up with 16. So basically, if AllSmokedUp wins both of his last weeks and MaechenX does not win another game going forward. If he goes 0 for 4 and AllSmokedUp wins out, then MaechenX could potentially fall out of the top 5. So essentially, MaechenX needs to win one single game to clinch a spot. He doesn't even need to win a series, but I'm sure he's going to try and win those series to make sure he stays in that top 3. Jayblack of Chronic Fatigue and King Delita of Arknights, I'm 99% sure play against each other next week, or maybe it's the final week, but either way, that should be a very interesting matchup, and we'll see who wins that head-to-head. Should be really cool to watch. Highwind of Tears for Spears and AllSmokedUp of Trap Queens, both with 10 points. They are a full series behind that top 5 spot, but they're not out of it. Like I said, with Jayblack and King Delita facing each other, one of them has to lose. So it could open up an opportunity for one of those two teams, and even somebody like JohnnyB of Disposable Heroes with 9 points. It's going to be harder for him being 4 points out, but you never know. Anything could happen. Willie Goats of the Corpse Brigade with 8 points, and Taiyo of Fire Force with 5. I don't think we will see those two teams in our playoffs, but we hopefully should see them participating in the Toilet Bowl and making some really cool matches. So I hope you guys enjoyed these fights. I know I did. I'm excited for the next 2 weeks. This should be the last video coming out this week, so I will remind everybody, Week 8 will take place 2 weeks from now, not next week. I'm going to be going on vacation. I'm giving everybody else a 1-week break before we come in for that home stretch to see who makes the playoffs in all these divisions. So I hope you guys enjoyed the matches and have a wonderful day.